What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Try Time Podcast. As you can see, we've not really moved since we did episode 68, and it's now episode 69. I'm still Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And yeah, we've literally got across the hall into a different room. You probably noticed last week the video drops. Well, the entire 3/4 of the podcast were looking at an empty chair.
Yeah, which we didn't realise because on our sort of view that wasn't there. But hopefully we won't have that issue today because we've completely moved to a different sort of setup. But yeah.
Behind the scenes, that's what's going on. So we've sacked off the stupidly expensive bit of microphone kit, and we're now recording on a phone.
Well, the audio, yeah, but
the audio's coming from a phone. We've still got the fancy camera, so
we're
somewhat professional.
Everything's going to be fine, yeah. So
and
what we
the audio completely broke, so
yeah.
Welcome to podcast live.
Episode 60. Did you say what episode it was?
Yeah, we're on 69.
Did you? I didn't even know you said it.
You listen to the intro.
No, well, listening. I was thinking you'd said it, but yeah. Go on, I'll let you intro.
Am I prefacing what we're doing?
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've decided the royal we, have decided one player from each club that we think at the end of this season the club should either look to ship on or not renew the contract of, or just generally shouldn't be part of the salary cap for 2025. I think Callum wants me to say that this is primarily my list.
Well, it is your list, isn't it?
And he will chip in and argue
Yeah.
with me where appropriate or agree with me because I've actually got something right for once.
Yeah. I'm ready for this. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure what's to come.
For the sake of not upsetting part of Yorkshire, we have done all 12 Super League teams, and given that they're almost certainly there next year, Wakefield have also made the cut as our 13th reason why.
Right, that's fine.
Start from the top.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Cast Tigers.
Christ.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
I don't actually.
Really? Because the player I always pick on at Cast, I don't think it's worth it.
Oh, yeah. Jacob
Miller.
Miller, yeah.
Yeah. For me, Miller's the one that's got to go. I don't think he offers enough creativity in the halves. And I don't think he really has done for a number of years, to be quite honest. I was quite shocked Cass even signed him, given he wasn't that impressive at Wakefield. And obviously, this is going to be something we refer to a lot in this video, but given the nature of the sport, it's quite important. He is a quota player.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me, the quota player. I think he's a great third choice halfback if he's not a quota player, but you don't want a third choice halfback as a quota player.
To do the Jamie Ellis role from about 5 years ago, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
But Cass have already got some weird quota players, like how they just randomly send Putt and Namo off to go play for Batley some weeks.
Yeah.
And to waste another one on Miller, who I don't think is a standout half, it's just a waste for me.
Yeah, I think if they want to get to that next level as well, it's a position that they need to get right. So I'd agree with you on that one.
They're on the cusp of Super League, aren't they? They could be the shock.
They could.
Because we still don't know where Toulouse fit in this ranking.
And Bradford.
And actually, well, we know where you fit, and it involves renovating your stadium.
Yeah.
Toulouse, they've had a slow start, but they're back in the fight now for second, and that could arguably be enough if they get it.
Yeah, maybe.
So, interesting time. Whereas what have Cast done? Put some seats in and drawn some more pictures of what their nice new stadium will look like that's finished on 2020 never.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to be in Championship next year, then I think Miller's a good keep, but I guess this video is on the basis that, apart from probably London, I'd imagine that these teams are going to be in Super League next year.
Yeah, and because we're not really sure on the whole Toulouse casting, we've just gone with Castaigne and not looked at Toulouse.
Yeah, which is fair.
Right, Catalans. I think this is a non-renewal, and I think you either let him go somewhere else or say, right, it's time to hang up the boots. It's Michael McLaurin.
Right, now that's an interesting one because there's a big difference in quality between like a Jacob Miller and a Michael McLaurin.
There is. However, I just don't think McLaurin is a player that you really should be renewing at that age for what he adds to your team.
Which is fair.
I think Da Costa's better already. And
I disagree, by the way. If you watched the top 10 hookers in Super League video a couple of weeks ago, you would know that I disagree on that. But
and I just generally think McLaurin's never been a hooker that gave you an attacking threat, so it would be wrong to criticise him on that. what was always his standout option was his defence. And whilst that's still strong, I question how much you really want to build this squad again with him going round. Because Catalan are at a point now where they've lost a lot of players, and you can see from their patchy form, they've not really got a settled team.
No.
You're going to have to do a lot of building new players in. And
there's already rumours of 2 of their signings coming over in Elliot Whitehead and Kira. So.
And I just think with that, it's time to inject a bit more youth into that hooking role alongside. You'd probably keep Alvarez in this case.
Yeah, I think that's a very realistic one, because I think it is likely that they don't renew it. I can see him still doing a job in Super League, maybe coming up back over to England, and I don't know why I could see him at like Salford or something.
See, I was wondering, does he drop
to Champ? I'd take him at Bradford.
I was thinking more as maybe somewhere like a Widnes.
I could see that. Maybe Toulouse. Maybe he stays in France.
Maybe so, but it's not like they're on the doorstep, I guess, is it?
No, not necessarily, no.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bradford's not the most unrealistic, I guess, if he does go to Championship. Because obviously he's from Leeds originally, despite playing his entire career in England in Wigan.
Yeah.
So I guess anywhere around those.
I could maybe Wakey. If Hood goes, I think he's better.
Well, we kept Tommy Doyle. They've let. We don't know if they've let Hood go, but
I'd imagine they would do, yeah.
And I mean, we might see whether or not he breaks the list.
Yeah.
It would be a sensible signing for Wakefield for a 12-month stopgap.
Yeah.
I just think with Catalan's ambitions, they need to do better than a 12-month stopgap and actually get a bit of structure.
And also,
chopping and changing isn't helping them at the moment.
Wakey would then basically become the Catalans team. They've already signed 2 of the better players, McBeacon and Johnston, and then McLaurin, but basically all the Catalans English contingent a little bit.
So this is more from a squad building perspective rather than McLaurin not being necessarily good enough anymore.
Yeah. But go on,
right, London, and this was I think the hardest one on the list, and don't ask me why this isn't in alphabetical order either, by the way. It started out.
I was just thinking that then. Where are we going with this?
Yeah, we're just off on a tour around the country here.
Right.
This was a tough one. So I've gone for Emmanuel Wayne.
Right.
Because he's barely playing.
Yeah.
And actually, what's the point if he's not going to play?
That's fair. Although I could see him staying potentially in Championship next year, but then
this is kind of the problem I've got, because all the players I think, well, they're not really good enough for Super League. Like, yeah, but this team isn't playing Super League next year. They probably are good enough for the Championship.
I thought you might have gone with like a different route of like, say, someone like.
I didn't think McCarney, but I didn't want to upset you.
I thought you'd gone for someone like Parata and made the point of like they should let him go because he should stay in Super League. Do you get what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
there's different ways of going about it, but I appreciate what you've.
That's against the spirit of the video.
Is it?
By saying he's too good, that implies the player shouldn't renew. That's an entirely different video altogether.
Yeah, true. No, but I guess with London, you could say a lot of players, I guess, but Wayne, the fact that he's not playing makes sense. I don't think there's too much more to say on that.
I'm going to say I just went for someone who's not really getting game time and the probably wouldn't miss.
And he's a quarter, isn't he?
So. Exactly. I'm going to say quote about 15 times in this video, so I thought I'd let it slide on that one. But yes, that was the other reason I picked him.
Yeah.
Imagine you don't have a quote in Championship, so that's called something
because
irrelevant.
Bradford
at 15.
Bradford have now got the most overseas players in the whole of England, so.
Which I think the last time a team had 9 overseas players was when Lee got promoted.
Yeah, and they had the issue, and then they had like Stone, didn't they? Who ended up going to Salford and stuff, and But
should we continue our random tour in no direction and go to Warrington? Yeah. This one should be fairly easy, I think. You'll probably agree with me here, Josh Drinkwater.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned this throughout the year, haven't we, about Drinkwater and the fact that that's a position that if Warrington can get that position right, then it can take them to be up there, I think, with the top 2. And I think Burgess knows that.
Yeah, I think so. I also don't think he's been playing particularly well for large parts of it. He kind of goes missing in some games.
I think he's too similar to Williams in certain senses, but he's just not as good.
And obviously they're trying to bleed Hayes through.
Yeah.
So why renew his barrier when he's not actually doing that well anyway? And to use a favourite quote term in this video, he's also a quarter player.
Yeah. I tell you what, Warrington are a Mark Sneed away from winning it all.
There's a few teams in the league I think are that though.
Yeah, Leeds as well.
No, we're more than a Sneed. We're also a pack away.
Yeah, true.
Do you want to go to Leeds while we're here?
Hey, why not? Yeah.
Fuzzy tour.
Right.
Quarter, fit for about 5 games a season. It hasn't worked out. We've obviously already signed Ryan Hall for next year. It's a short-term fix. You're probably looking more to your Edgels and your Lums longer term to come through because it's Leeds and we love to shove people in the academy in.
Yeah.
Sometimes to the actual detriment of the squad and actually going out and buying who we need.
Yeah, the detriment to the players sometimes as well.
But we tried it with Fuzzy Tour. It's not really worked.
I think
it's difficult because when he's fit, he's a good player. But the problem is it just doesn't happen often enough to justify. If he was English and cheap, you'd say it's worth a gamble.
Yeah, because when he plays, he's really good. At times, I think I see the signs are definitely there. He's a solid winger, but it is that fitness.
You notice it even more, I think, when you look at you've got Louis Roberts covering for him, who is not got that fast spark, that turn of pace on him.
Yeah.
Whereas Fuzzy Tour is good in the air. He's solid defensively.
I think really impressive. Yeah.
He makes decent meters out of his own 10 and 20.
Yeah.
But he's just not fit, and this is the problem. He topped the NRL try scoring charts, and yet before he's 30, he's washed up in Super League.
Yeah.
That's not normal. And it comes down to fitness.
No, definitely.
And unfortunately, his body can't take the ability he is.
Yeah. But which is fair. I think, again, that's a realistic one where I can't see him. Is he out of contract ending?
He's out of contract this year.
I can't see that being renewed.
I think with Ryan said that's already saying, right, we appreciate Fuzzy Tour was never the long-term option, but it's not working.
Where do you think he goes?
I don't know.
Because I don't know
if I see it. Wage-wise, I don't know if I see him going to a lower team. Dropping down a division.
Yeah, like a Tafua type.
It's possible, but then Tafua probably didn't sign with Warriors covering nearly half his 400k salary. Because that's what he was on down there around with Hardley.
Yeah.
His renewal, I think, will have been a lot less from Leeds. I don't think he's getting anywhere near that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's another big come down to then accept championship level salary, which realistically, there's not many that are full time to start with.
No.
And I don't think he'd want to go part time.
No, maybe could see him at lower Super League. I could see him at Salford for some reason.
Well, that's an interesting one because Nofaluma's not really
turned up.
Turned on, yeah. But does Salford gamble on the injuries that much with where they are financially?
Yeah, maybe not. I just can see, screams.
So under the right coach and the right team, he would put up fantastic numbers if he could do the full season
and stay fit. Yeah,
but he's like the Australian Jack Walker, but more talented.
Maybe, yeah.
Because there's a player in there, but you can't ever keep him fit enough.
Yeah.
To get that player out of him
consistently, yeah.
And it's kind of like the same sort of career trajectory where they've both looked really good and had the world at their feet from a very young age.
Yeah.
But injuries have robbed them of sustaining that.
Yeah, which I think
albeit what they did in Super League Fuzzy 2 of the NRL, there's levels to this.
Yeah.
And that's not a dig at Jack.
That's fair enough, I think.
Should we move on to Hull FC, given we're on
that's not going to be Jack Walker now, is it? That's not, yeah.
I thought about it, but no. And ironically, the player I put down has had a much better last couple of games.
Go on.
Liggy Sal.
Right, interesting. Not Ockenball. By the point this goes out, Ockenball might be gone.
I think Ockenball should be gone before then, to be honest. Yeah. I don't think this should even be a discussion.
Yeah.
But, no, I think Sal has had a tough start to the season, and with his discipline issues has been part of Hull's problem, really. He's obviously been a good servant to Hull, and he's the sort of player I could see accepting mutually to go a year early if it was at the club's wishes and they helped him find something else to go to.
Yeah, I could see
And I
that.
think that's maybe where I've gone more realistic here, rather than Ockenboard, who I could also turn around and thinking, right, well, I'm not getting this money again, so I'm sitting out my contracts, even if I'm on bench or on dual reg.
Yeah, which I think is probably what he's going with at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah, like if he's going to go, Hull are going to have to pay it,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But and then I did also think like Tumavave, given his recent injury concerns, but he has come back in good form. And to be quite honest, I feel like it's pretty well doc, and the fans know that they said, he's been a great servant to the club, but it's time
Yeah.
to put on pitch over sentiment, really.
Yeah.
And that would be a bit too boring pick. So I've at least gone for Sal, where there's a bit more of an interest in it.
And I think that's fair. I think that's realistic as well. I think Tumavave will go as well. I think there'll be a lot of movement with their quota players, but
and of course, yes, Sal's a quota player, which I did just want to bring the
the
catchphrase of the video up.
Yeah.
There should be one quota player from each club at this rate.
Yeah, well, which ones have not been quota players?
So far, McAlory.
Wow.
And again, that's the one that's not on talent, that's on actual long-term squad planning at Catalans.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we stick with Hull.
What, and go KR?
Yeah, I'm going to use my favourite phrase again.
Quota.
Matt Parcell.
Right. God, another quota.
Another quota. Jez Layton's taken the number 9. Again, it's more squad planning than everything.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I love Parcell. He obviously did a great job for us while he was there. He's shown that he had the talent to do it at KR. But, you can see the natural shift into Jez Layton taking over that role and being on a lot more. Parcell's minutes have reduced. He is obviously overseas. You can see that natural drop off in his minutes to the point where it's time to say we need that spot for somewhere else, and we don't renew.
I think that's fair. Do you think he could stay?
This is a lot less controversial than the version we did a few years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the state of where Super League's at the minute.
Or we've just matured as a podcast.
Well, that is definitely the case. But
let us know if you want us to go back to being controversial.
Yeah.
Because I don't like this. This is too sensible for me.
Could you see Parcell going to another Super League team, or do you think the quota?
I don't know, to be honest. He's another option for Wakefield, I think. Or actually even a Salford to replace Borough, because he's not a player who struggled with his fitness.
Yeah.
I think you could still sign him and you could get good impact out of him for the full season.
Yeah.
I also think he seems quite settled over here, and a move again to a championship is going to give him that near full-time package isn't out the question.
Yeah.
And he's the sort of player, I think, with how he plays, would do well at that level as well.
Yeah, I think
because he does the core duties of a hooker very well.
Could see him at York.
What, as like we've got the Miler money now, let's spend it on Parcell.
Yeah, it just could see him. He doesn't probably have to relocate and.
No, that's true.
York trying.
What about if Gould getting?
Why don't we go?
But
oh dear.
No, I could see him anywhere. I think he'll stay in Yorkshire if he does.
Yeah, I think that's
which is maybe where I think Wakefield is perhaps a more likely move than Salford. Albeit if it was a Super League contract with Salford or a Championship deal, I think he'd stay in the top flight. But yeah, York is a good shout, and I think that would be a fantastic signing for York.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Hull KR it's not the right place for him next year for the club side more than anything.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Right, we've said a few places Salford. Now let's see who they're getting rid of.
Right.
Jack Ormondroyd.
Not a quota.
Not a quota.
That's fair.
Salford is a tough one, actually, because they've not got any obvious massive names. It's obviously quite a small squad.
And they don't have, like, them big players who underperform who are getting paid stupid.
No, Salford are annoyingly astute in the transfer market, which makes it really difficult to pick one for. And this is the harshest one, I think, on the list, to be honest.
I thought you would have put Sneed, they should have sold Sneed so that they could send him a Leeds.
No, because Sneed at Leeds would be interesting, but no, this is not for me being selfish for my own club's gain. I just think with Ormondroyd, and the thing is, he won't cost a lot to renew.
No.
And actually, as a bench prop, he's not he'd still do a very good job.
I think there's better
The problem
props
is, I
coming
don't think
through.
he should be starting, and for the moment, it feels like if everyone's fit, the sort of player that is in that team.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's had a few seasons where he's really looked good. And then did he have an injury a couple of years ago, and it's just never really looked the same.
I think I could see him in Championship. I think he's got that written all over him now, that step back.
I think what you do if you're Salford is you let Ormondroyd go and you go out and you sign someone like Tom Holroyd, who they have been linked with.
Yeah. Well, they've already shown that they want to sign these, because Salford obviously don't have the best sort of academy set up by any means, but like they've already shown, like, I mean, they've signed Wilson, who Bradford bloody had on loan.
But I don't mind that,
Wigan,
because actually that's where they are in the proximity to the likes of Wigan, even Warrington and St Helens, Leeds. They're not too far away. You can poach all these that are on the fringe. You know, you look at Kai Morgan, who was on the fringes at Leeds.
Yeah.
Tyler Dupree they got when Leeds didn't see.
Well, he went via Widnes, but yeah, same sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of not quote unquote failed academy.
The guys have never broken through into the.
And
I want to say bigger teams, but I'm flattering Leeds where they are in the table. But you know.
But like Wigan's academy, like the way that their production line is at the minute, there's always going to be options. I mean, Warrington, Max. How good's Max Wood for Warrington? He was at Wigan, and they signed him from Wigan. You've got players like that. Matty Nicholson.
He almost broke through, and they still let him go.
So I think they've got to, and they will.
And it's a decent business model, because you're not forking out your own academy.
No,
you're still picking off very good players.
Salford are like the Brighton of Super League in terms of buy low.
Yeah, but
buy low, sell
Brighton are going down next year to the Palace.
But you know what I mean, like the buy low from the academy sort of players, and then sell high, which they obviously. I know it's not necessarily big.
If you want, there you go. If you want a little try-time football section, there's my hot take for next season. Brighton getting relegated.
Right.
Bear in mind, I got the Leicester relegation bang on. So,
well, there we go.
I've got an oracle for these things.
We might do a pod on that to mention that narrative.
Is this a new channel?
Yeah.
Christ, we can't even get the tech working for the one we've got, let alone a second.
Yeah. Right, who's next team?
We've accepted Ormondroyd.
Well, I can see him in Championship. I think he's ready to make that natural step down.
Let's go for Lee.
Ooh.
We kind of discussed it. Well, this one we've had to change. So, I was originally going to record this a few weeks ago, and it was one where we couldn't get together to do it.
It was like over a month ago, actually, when you think.
Yeah, it wasn't. You know, this is obviously the video where we need to discuss opinions. This isn't really a one-person monologue kind of video. And I did have Ben Nakubawa in there, who hasn't since gone to Featherstone. I can't remember if it was a loan or permanent, but either way, you'd imagine that's with a view to an exit door.
Yeah.
So I've gone for someone who is actually still at Lee and changed us on the fly, and we've collectively agreed to go for Frankie Holton.
Yeah. I remember watching him in the Championship for Swinton. He was obviously very good. At Fev, again, very good. But then he's one of them where, like, I don't necessarily think he's that super. I think there's better second rowers knocking about in upper Championship.
Because he didn't do much off the bench on Friday against Leeds.
Did he not start? He started, didn't he, backward? Him and O'Donnell.
He didn't do much against Leeds, whether he started or was on the bench.
Yeah. I just think I think if Lee want to take that step forward, which I think they do, and they're obviously losing a lot of players this year, like we're saying O'Donnell's off back to NRL.
This is why Lee is so difficult, because half the squad's off to Hull and Huddersfield.
Or leaving to NRL.
Or leaving somewhere else. And the players who are staying, like, you're never going to say it's time to let your Papes or your Lambs go.
Yeah.
Even Gaz O'Brien, who's probably the next one in terms of succession planning.
Yeah.
He's still doing enough of a job that I don't think...
You don't want
like a Matt Parcell, Michael McLaurin, where you've either got the replacement already embedded in, or actually he's 36... and you're having a big turnover. I know he's not much younger, but I think you've still got another year or two with him. Yeah,
I think that's fair. I think a player like, even Holton, I mean, we're saying you should sell him. If they didn't sell him, it's not like it's end of the world.
I was just say that's the other problem again. It's a bit like Ormondroyd. He's, I imagine, quite cheap on the cap, and in terms of doing a job.
Yeah. He's a good
worst ways to spend the money.
Yeah, he's a good third choice back rower, really, isn't he?
And he's proven that he will be solid, even if he won't set the world alight.
Yeah, so I think that it's a tough one. So sorry if you're listening, Frankie.
Yeah, it's not personal, I promise. So I think we've got Saints and Huddersfield left.
What about Wigan?
Oh, and Wigan.
And Wakey.
I'm saving Wigan to the end.
And Wakey.
Well, they're like our 13th region.
Oh, right.
They come at the end.
Is that them all then? Once we've done, I think it was.
Yeah.
But
So, since we're not going to get lynched by the Huddersfield fans, Jake Bibby.
fair, I think. I mean, he's kind of not played too much, has he, this season, really?
He's
And
not played much. And to be quite on, well, I'm just going to say it now, he's a player I've never particularly rated as highly as what the clubs seem to.
Yeah.
He's good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's.
Well, he's not in their best. Like, if you look at their best back four, you know, two wingers and centres. I mean, this season they've obviously Swift's been one of the best wingers in comp. You've got, you know, Nagama and Masters, and I know Masters is going next season, but still great centres.
Yeah,
maybe
what
it's
a
not
coup
getting
that
on
is,
the
by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I think that could well be signing of the season next year.
And on the other wing, I mean, Halsall's played really well when he's played, and also Wallace as well has been good. So I do think he's surplus to requirements. And I also don't think he'll be on, like, someone like Halsall or Wallace will be on a lot less. They're probably combined on the same money that Bibby's on.
Well, this is it, because, like, I mean, I've pulled up his record here just to kind of support my argument that I don't think he really ever all that, and it's going quite well for me. 36 tries in 80 at Salford is not fabulous, given he spent a large chunk of that on the wing.
Or in the centre, if not, and it's still in free-flowing attacking teams, yeah.
You know, 24 in 67 at Wigan, the numbers they put up when you've got your likes of Liam Marshall, who's not far off won a game.
Yeah.
And has been in and out of that squad with injuries. And then 5 in 18 at Huddersfield.
It's poor, isn't it?
I never really understood why Wigan signed him. And then obviously Watson brought him because he's his mate from Salford.
But then Watson's not playing him.
But then now he's realised he's not actually that good.
Yeah.
And
I see him in Championship.
I do. I think the thing he does well is he runs the ball in hard from deep, and he will make good meters doing that. What he's a much more polished article of Ben Blackmore.
Yeah, potentially.
Because he defends a lot better than Blackmore does.
That's not hard, yeah.
He runs the ball in as well, if not better.
Yeah.
But neither of them are necessary. Blackmore at least is a bit of a bigger try threat than I think what Bibby is.
Yeah.
But at that level...
But Blackmore's playing in League One now, so...
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a reason for that, whereas I think Bibby going from Super League to Championship is reasonable. Witness is not a bad shout. I could even see Swinton, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe.
They've got the deck pattern money in.
Well, there you go, yeah.
So,
Jake
Bibby's in a gloss-up caravan potentially next year.
Right, who's next?
Right, St Helens. Oh, yes, it's another one where I don't get to use my favourite phrase. I've gone for the fan scapegoat and Joe Batchelor.
All right. Interesting.
I think St Helens, for the size of their fan base, and again, this is a minority of them, but when you start to lose that minority, it can be a very toxic place to be.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Batchelor is the next player to fall victim to that. He's not had a great season.
Yeah.
I think there probably are as good, if not better, second rowers out there.
In that squad.
In that squad and in Super League in general.
Yeah.
And he himself probably would benefit from going to somewhere where he's going to get a bit more love.
What about...
Now,
he's at Leah's Holton's replacement.
Well, what I was going to say is I wouldn't be opposed to the Batchelor connection at Hull KR.
Oh, yeah.
And get the family back together. Alternatively, we spice up the whole derby and send him to FC, because that could be interesting.
Yeah, I could see him at any of them. He's one of them players where he would definitely get a Super League contract.
100%. And actually, with the fans behind him and that bit more confidence, I think he could go on to play just as well as he did when he got into the England squad.
Yeah.
I don't think he is a bad player. I just don't think that it's the right fit anymore for the club and the player.
Which I think's fair.
And this is as much his welfare and his career progression as it is for St Helens, who probably, with Wellens being under some pressure if he doesn't win anything this year, it's almost an easy win to kind of appease the fans because there's a vocal minority that are wanting him moved on, and you probably can replace him with somebody else without, it's not the hardest position to go profile somebody for.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yeah, that's why basically.
That's
right. We're on to Wigan. You've seen this one, and you want me to explain.
I disagree big time. Yeah.
So for Wigan, and this is, I'm going to lead with my favourite phrase. It's the quoted player of Cade Ellis.
Hard disagree.
Very good player.
The best player on this whole list so far.
100%. And you put him in 90% of the other Super League teams, and he does not make this list. But the problem is, he's not at 90% of the other teams. He's at Wigan. And for what they've already got, to use the quota player on him, and a decent chunk of cap with the state of their forwards, they don't need him. He's an accessory that they don't need, and they would probably be better spent with an academy product in there who's going to cost less on cap.
Yeah.
Will get the discount for being an academy player.
And they've got them coming through as well.
And ultimately, selfishly benefits English Rugby League longer term. Because Wigan have got a conveyor belt. There will be somebody who's only about 5 attribute points behind Cade Ellis in that academy that we've probably never heard of, ready to take.
Well, there is anyway. Look at, Nsemba's obviously brought through in a different position, but even someone like Hill has played minutes this season and stuff. So I can understand what you're saying, but
it is, for me, it's not a wise use of the money for where we. And I know Wigan aren't short of it, but you look at who they've got. They've got to be spending the bulk of the cap.
But who would they use that? What position do they need to strengthen in?
I don't think it's a case of needing necessarily the spot. I think it's handy to have it in pocket if ever you do need it, because let's say, Field's injury happened to be more serious, and that was his season over, and they didn't have. I mean, say this Fairman's come in and done a fantastic job. So yet again, you can shuffle it with an academy product and you go weaker.
But I know a position that a player that I thought you would have said for this.
There was a player I wanted to say.
I know it, Miski.
No.
See, I know you're not the biggest Miski guy.
Yeah, but again, the thing is, Miski's a finisher.
Yeah, but is he on the cap? He's quarter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I thought you would have said it.
He's another option, and I considered him. But I'm picking my battles, and Super League's top try scorer last year is not what I'm going to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas Ellis, who is a very solid 13, but I don't even think he's the best 13 in the comp.
But I'll raise you this. Your argument that you've just made, I think the player that you should have picked would be Margot, because they've got more. I think as an out-and-out.
No, for the impact he brings off the bench, Margot is probably the.
Or Mago. Sorry, I know I always say that wrong. That's fair.
I rate him.
They're all good players. Wigan's best 17s.
The player who I don't think is necessarily.
Don't say Harry Smith.
No.
Cruz
Lehman.
Oh, I knew I should have known. Cruz Lehman. You've still not figured him, have you?
Attacking wise, perfectly fine hooker. Defensively, I don't think he's the strongest defence. I think I could easily see a world where he went back to Huddersfield, and I don't think anyone would bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
I just don't. But again, Wigan have got that good of a squad, and for what he brings in terms of attacking impulse off the bench, they don't need to get rid of anyone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just picking somebody, and yeah, you can probably replace Ellis with somebody almost as good who's English and cheaper, and the team would still go on and win everything. So,
yeah, that's fair. So who's last team Wakey then?
Yeah, and this is a boring one because it's someone who I don't think will go around in Super League again anyway.
Liam Hood.
Jay Pitts.
Oh, God, yeah.
They're much one and the same, really.
Yeah.
Both of them have...
We've spoke a lot, haven't we, about them sort of, how them players are kind of at that cusp of probably staying down in.
Well, it's that 34. He's probably not got another round of Super League in him.
He's done Super League, then he's done Championship, then he's back to Super. He's been everywhere. He's done the job wherever he's been.
He's solid for what they need right now, but realistically, I don't think you take him to Super League.
Yeah, that's fair.
And with who they've signed already, he'll tell you himself he's below that calibre of player.
Yeah, I'd love him back at Bradford.
He's just
Yeah.
a workhorse,
Yeah.
A bit like kind of you're going to get with him really, and he's going to put the shift in. Bradford's an option. I could see him at somewhere like a York.
Yeah. That
Like,
type of
those kind of
upper championship, definitely. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I don't see a return to Super League for him, and I think Wakey would be foolish to.
Yeah, because I think they're more likely to keep Ashurst as the sort of club captain, and even if they want like a third choice back row who's maybe not quite cut to it, I think he'd be it. And obviously they've got Griffin as well, who I think they've.
Griffin, I think, looks good enough that he could do another season.
Yeah, but I think Griffin will still start in back row from next season.
Potentially. Which, if you depends where you play McMeekin, whether you're keeping him as a prop like Catalan have, or you go back to back row how it was at Castle.
I think you could just play McMeekin at loose, to be honest, and just give him that bit more free.
Yeah, or that even
like that. Yeah, it depends on what rest of squad.
Well, unless Cats do end up going down, in which case they might take the Yorkshire Rimmer back.
Well, they could do a lot worse than that.
That'd be a great standing.
But yeah, I think is that them all then, isn't it?
That's all of them. So that is each Super League team and Wakefield's player that I would look to shift on for next season, one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is very subjective, and you guys will have a completely different opinion. So let us know why I'm wrong or who you'd pick instead. And Callum will no doubt double down on agreeing with you and trying to make me look like an idiot in the comments.
But yeah, if you like this concept, like these like I say, Matt's picks, so I can happily do another pick for each team in a few weeks. If it's something that people like watching and yeah, let us know.
Otherwise, stay subscribed for more fun stuff. Don't know what. And we're gonna have the French vlog coming out you soon.
Yeah, that's.
I hope you're going to edit your little anime character with a beret on for that one.
Yeah, I might have to do.
And some onions around there. In fact, you've got to come on pod and open it in a beret.
I'll bring back some first pod after France. I'll have some
baguettes.
Like, I'll bring some stuff back.
All right, we're going French.
I might even bring some like French snacks back, French sweets.
Well, you know that's the rebuilding Catalan special then. There we go. We'll go full multiculturalism. Thanks for watching and listening to us chat shit again for ages, and see you next time.
Yeah, see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.